No. It really took me feeling desperate in order to go and apply for SNAP benefits. And it actually took me feeling desperate to even tell friends, not being able to heat my home to like a living temperature, not being able to afford food. I left home, relatively speaking, at 18. But after college was when it became much tougher. The reality was I graduated right into the 2008 financial crisis.
Some of these are crazy. Like I forgot like I took photographs.
This is somewhere in Shelburne Falls. The biggest challenge was just trying to find a job that paid not just a living wage, but like somewhat of a thriving wage. I think in that winter I was heating my house to 50 degrees so that I could keep the energy bill low. When I first applied to SNAP benefits, it was in between having a job and getting the job at a fast fashion company. My schedule was not set. So I couldn't even get a second job in order to like even maybe make enough to cover all the expenses I had, from rent, utilities, food, gas, internet, you know, all that. So I went down to the DTA office in Holyoke and applied and was helped with someone in person and pretty quickly was able to qualify for SNAP benefits. That was a lifesaver in many ways. It was such a relief when I was approved. SNAP has been vital for so many people that I didn't even expect, to just be able to afford to put food on the table. I really want people to know that there are so many influences impacting someone's ability to make a living and thriving wage and be able to pay all of the expenses that are required of us to live. It's not any one person's personal fault that they may find themselves in need of SNAP benefits, and that's why they should take advantage of it being there, because it's there to be that safety net. I was self-conscious using that EBT card at the checkout at the grocery store. There was a lot of internalized, I need to be independent, I should, and a bit of like feeling like a failure, that I didn't meet the benchmarks I was expected or had expected myself to meet. Like, I think the fact that there is just that generalized stigma, whether it's us thinking other people are judging us or whether they actually are, because I do believe that happened. I know I haven't experienced it firsthand, but I have seen it and heard people tell stories about it. I feel like I didn't face as much stigma as other people might have, and I think there's a variety of reasons for that. First, I'm white, I'm blonde, blue-eyed, but also I was very, very careful about never going over the limit that card had, so it never came up that I was charging an EBT card. And I think had I ever gone to the grocery store and accidentally had too much in my cart, I feel like I could have faced a lot more stigma than I did. Something fascinating that came up recently when I was talking about being on SNAP with my parents was I didn't know that both of them have been on SNAP, and it came up in conversation many years after the fact that I was on SNAP, and I found it a little sad that we hadn't had the conversations well before this and that they maybe didn't feel comfortable talking about it because there is stigma or maybe shame in asking for help. Talking and telling stories about asking for help in general, but also being on SNAP, helps raise awareness that it's a lot more common than people realize, and that in that shared common experience, there's an important underlying story of, okay, well, why are so many people needing this help? And what can we do to prevent that? The fact that we live in a place that people can't make ends meet is very concerning. One of the other resources people can tap into is the Food Bank SNAP Outreach and Assistance Team. And they are individuals that are highly knowledgeable about what it takes to apply for SNAP and are there to specifically help you do that. So you're not alone and it's not your fault. I think those are the two main things I want people to know, and that reaching out and asking for help, not only maybe in mutual aid, but also from programs like SNAP is really important. There's nothing shameful about needing help, and that people are there to help. Just reach out.